What's up, sports fans? This is the Lucas Ross Sports Channel, and it's time to give you my top 25 rankings heading into Week 1 of the 2023 college football season. The 2023 college football season is officially underway. A couple days ago, we had week number 0 of the college football season. There wasn't really a lot to take away from week number 0. Of course, we had Notre Dame and USC play over the weekend. We saw both offenses pretty explosive for both of those teams. And then we had, of course, Vanderbilt and Hawaii. Vanderbilt coming out just by 7 points in that game. I kind of knew that game would be kind of closer. I don't think it was going to be an easy game for Vanderbilt. I know they blew out Hawaii last year. They probably could have won big, but it's week number 0. I mean, sometimes, teams are pretty sloppy in the first couple weeks, and then, in the first or the last 2 weeks of the month of September, things kind of start to get better down that stretch. So I can see the reason why Vanderbilt pretty much, only won by 7 points, but Vanderbilt's offense looked pretty good. Their offense, their passing game looked really good. Their defense needs a little bit of work, but they're going to get better down the stretch. But now we're heading into week 1 of the college football season. We got some big-time games coming up this weekend. It pretty much, kicks off on Thursday, which is about 3 days away. And then, of course, we have the big games on Saturday. We got some games on Friday as well. And then we, of course, have some games on Sunday. And they won't end until about Labor Day. So we got a lot of games coming up for college football this, starting Thursday and then continuing all the way until Labor Day. But let's get right into it with my first top 25 of 2023 for week number 1 of the 2023 college football season. We'll start from the bottom and work our way to the top. From 21 through 25, I have Iowa at number 25, Ole Miss at number 24, Wisconsin at 23, North Carolina at number 22, Oklahoma at number 21. Iowa, one thing I'm concerned about for them is the defense, or actually the offense this year. Remember, their offense was not really good last year. They were not, one of the worst in the Big Ten last year, but they were close to that last season. Remember last year in their season opener, they only scored 7 points in their opener. Could they score more points in this game against Utah State this weekend? That's the one, possession that I'm, concerned with Iowa going into this game this weekend. But I think their defense should overall be pretty strong. I think defensively they're going to be overall that good like they are almost every year. So Iowa here at number 25. Ole Miss, one thing I'm concerned about is the defense. Ever since Lane Kiffin was there, the defense has just not really been able to get it going overall on the defensive side of the football. They've had some transfers to help them out, but that's just really not helping them out a little bit. So that's the one area I'm concerned about for Ole Miss, but their offense should really be explosive this weekend. I don't really see them having any, problems this weekend. I think they should go out there and take care of business. Maybe the defense is a little bit sluggish, but I think offensively Ole Miss will explode in this game, and I think they should start out 1-0 this weekend. Wisconsin at number 23. I don't really see any concerns with the team for Wisconsin. There's just one thing that I'm concerned about is the coaching staff. I know Luke Fickell is coming in here as his first-year head coach. He does have experience, at the Group of 5 level, but he's never coached at the Power 5 level. If he's motivated enough, Wisconsin's going to be really good. I think Wisconsin, though, is pretty much, balanced on both sides of the football. This team has a lot of production coming back. They also got a ton of transfers to help them out as well. North Carolina at number 22. I am concerned about the defense for the Tar Heels. This North Carolina defense was not really good last year, and they're taking on a pretty good South Carolina team this weekend. That's probably the biggest game in week number 1 this weekend, and also College Game Day will be there for that game in Charlotte. But I think North Carolina's offense should be pretty explosive. I think they are one of the top offenses heading into the ACC. Maybe besides Florida State, they're probably one of those top, offenses heading into the ACC this year. They're at number 22 here in my top 25 poll. Then you got Oklahoma here at number 21. I am concerned about Oklahoma's defense heading into this year. Their defense was not overall that good last year. Their offense, though, I don't really see any concerns with them there. And the passing game should be overall pretty good. Dylan Gabriel's back at quarterback, fully healthy now. Obviously, he missed a few games last year, and that's why Oklahoma didn't really have a good season last year. But I am concerned about the defense. I think defensively they have to get better on that side of the football. And I think that will be fixed this year, but I am still concerned. I mean, it's really early to tell about these teams. You don't really know what their weaknesses are going to be until you get into about week number 5 or something like that. So Oklahoma here at number 21. These are my rankings from 21 through 25. Let's now go from 16 through 20. TCU at number 20 here. I am concerned about their offense. Obviously, they lost a lot of talent on that side of the football from last year. Defensively, they should be pretty strong. I think they're going to hold Colorado to maybe a fewer points in their game this weekend. That's a rematch from last year's game as well. Should be a pretty good game. TCU is the favorite going into that game. They're favored by 20 points, I believe, in that game. So it's not a potential, like, upset alert type game. Maybe it is, for some people. Like, Colorado fans are kind of, thinking that they're going to pull off the upset here. But I think TCU still has more talent than Colorado. I mean, Colorado's got a new team this year. They're going to have new transfers coming in. And it's just a brand new roster and a brand new, restarting, rebuild for that program. TCU, though, like I said, I am concerned about their offense, but defensively, I am not too concerned. I think their defense can probably hold Colorado to fewer points in this game this upcoming weekend. So I got TCU here at number 20. Texas Tech at number 19. I think this is a well-balanced team. I really don't see any concerns for this team. This team has a lot of production coming back on both sides of the football, so they should be overall pretty good on both sides of the football. Tulane at number 18, another well-experienced team, and also this is the only Group of 5 team I have in my top 25 poll. I don't really see any concerns for this Tulane team. I think they're well-experienced on both sides of the football. Kansas State at number 17, no weaknesses on this Kansas State team. They do have a little bit of production coming back this year from last year, but maybe this is a Kansas State team that kind of takes a step back year this year, but I really don't see them having a too big of a step back year, but maybe they're still overall pretty good to make it to the Big 12 championship. But I do expect them to go out there and take care of business this weekend. And then Oregon State here at number 16. I do concern about the offense for Oregon State, especially the passing game. If DJ Oguleye, kind of stays consistent, he'll make his debut this Sunday coming up for Oregon State. I really look forward to see what DJ Oguleye can do for this Oregon State team. But like I said, is he the same, DJ Oguleye that we saw at Clemson, or is this a different DJ Oguleye heading into Oregon State? We don't know for sure. We have to see, DJ play a little bit, in the fewer weeks at time. We got to see how he does in this first game, and then we got to see how he does in the, first few games of the season, like maybe 1 through 4, week number 1 through 4. I think we have to just see Oregon State, see what he does in the passing game and everything. I don't see any concerns for Oregon State on the offense. Like, I think they can run the football. Defensively, they should be pretty strong. But again, the passing game is a little bit concerning, but I think Oregon State will be a really good team this year. Those are my rankings from 16 through 20. 11 through 15, we got Oregon at number 15, Texas at number 14, Notre Dame at number 13, Tennessee at number 12, and then Utah at number 11. So Oregon, I don't really see any concerns for this team. They should be pretty explosive on offense. Defensively, I think they should be really strong on that side of the football. And I think this is a team that can make it to the Pac-12 championship this year. But there's a lot of other teams in the Pac-12 this year that are really well capable of, making it to the Pac-12 championship. But Oregon is definitely one of those contenders that can make it into the Pac-12 championship. But again, Oregon, I don't really see any concerns for them going into their first game of the season, and definitely no concerns all season long for Oregon. I think, Bo Nix is a pretty consistent quarterback. I think he's going to be definitely one of those Heisman candidates as well. We have to see him play in the first few weeks, and we got to see Oregon play a really good team before we really know about this Oregon team and everything, before we can know how explosive their offense is. Texas at number 14. The one thing I'm really concerned about for Texas, if they just don't live up to the expectations. I'm not really concerned about their offense or defense. It's just if they can be consistent. Texas, obviously, they just don't really live up to the hype sometimes. People are just so high on this Texas team. But I do expect Texas to go out there and take care of business this weekend. I don't really see them having any problems with Rice. They do play Alabama next weekend. Maybe they're not focused on that Rice game. Maybe they're kind of looking ahead to Alabama, but I think they'll be ready, and I think they'll be focused on this Rice game this weekend. I think Quinn Ewers should be really overall that good. Quinn Ewers could be one of the top quarterbacks in the Big 12 this upcoming season, but there are a lot of other great Big 12 quarterbacks out there. We'll see how this Texas team plays, but we have to see Texas, play like a really good quality team in the top 10 perhaps. Like, for example, Alabama, if they do beat them this year, we can probably move Texas into the top 10, but we'll find out how good this Texas team is when they play Alabama pretty much in week number 2. Notre Dame at number 13. They're already sitting there at 1-0. Of course, they played in week number 0. I mean, after that game against Navy, they didn't play a really good Navy team. I mean, you could tell right away that Navy is not going to be a really good team this year. Notre Dame's offense, though, just really explosive overall in the passing game. Running game looked really strong as well for the Irish. I mean, I don't really see any concerns on the offensive side of the football. Defensively, I have to see them play a really good offense. I have to see them play a really good offense in order for me to say that their defense is balanced. I mean, I think Notre Dame's got a pretty good offense, but I got to see their offense as well play a really good defense. So I have to, put Notre Dame here still at number 13. I don't want to really get too hyped up with Notre Dame after their win over 42-3 win over Navy. I just have to see more from Notre Dame, and I also have to see them play like a really good defense, and that doesn't really come until about week number 4 against Ohio State. So if they do win that game, that kind of proves us that Notre Dame is a really good team and also a top 10 team and also a playoff contender. But their offense looked good in that Navy game. Their offense looked really explosive. Sam Hartman, of course, throwing 4 touchdown passes in his first game as a Notre Dame Fighting Irish quarterback. I think he only missed 5 passes in that game, I mean, if I'm not mistaken. But Sam Hartman, you could tell he's picking up where he left off, when he was at Wake Forest and, in that program for the last 5 years. So Notre Dame off to a 1-0 start for 2023. Tennessee at number 12. One thing I am concerned about Tennessee is the defense. The defense has not been good in the last couple years for them under Josh Heupel's first 2 years, but maybe that defense has changed this year. Maybe their defense is a little bit more aggressive than they have been in the last 2 years. This is a Tennessee team that could stop the run game from last year. I expect them to go out there and take care of business. I don't think they'll have any problems against Virginia. Virginia wasn't that really good of a team last year, so I expect Tennessee to kind of roll over in that game. Offensively, they should be pretty explosive. I mean, Joe Milton's back at quarterback. He's got a really good arm. He's probably got one of the strongest arms in college football, and I think he's going to have a pretty good season. As long as he doesn't miss those deep balls, Tennessee's going to have a really, hard time, hitting the deep ball down the field. But I think Joe Milton's kind of changed that from now, and I think he's going to be more accurate than he was a couple years ago. So Tennessee here at number 12. Then I got Utah here at number 11. Utah here at number 11. They're playing this Thursday night against Florida. I don't see any concerns for Utah, on both sides of the football this year. What I am concerned about for Utah, though, heading into this game against Florida is that Cam Rising, is he healthy? Is he going to be healthy going into this game against Florida? I mean, it's hard to tell if he's going to be healthy going into this game. If he doesn't play, I really don't see any weaknesses for Utah going into this game if Cam Rising didn't play. I think this is a well-balanced offense. I think this is a well-balanced defense. And like I said, the way they have been balanced on both sides of the football, that's the reason why they have won, the Pac-12 championship the last couple years. But yes, Cam Rising is questionable going into this game this weekend this Thursday night against Florida. I think that's a very losable game for Utah, but going into that game, they do have home field advantage in that game. So Utah here at number 11. These are my rankings from 11 through 15. Let's now go into the top 10. From 6 through 10, I got Clemson at number 10. One thing I've been saying all off season long for Clemson is that the offense is what I'm concerned about for Clemson. Their offense is, they got some talent on that offensive side of the football, but I just think their passing game is not going to be really strong. I think this Clemson team can run the football, though, pretty well. Defensively, though, that's where I'm not concerned about for Clemson. They should be a really good defensive team. The defensive line should be pretty strong. The secondary should be pretty strong for Clemson. They don't have an easy game against Duke on that Monday night. I think that's going to be a really big test for Clemson, especially when it's on the road, in North Carolina and everything. So, like I said, I'm really concerned about Clemson's offense. If Caleb Klubnik, can run the table for Clemson, and if that offense can just stay consistent and, score a lot of points in this game against Duke, Clemson could be a very dangerous team heading into this year, but we have to see that in the first few weeks if Clemson's offense is going to be good or not. So it's going to come down to that Duke game. That's a game they have to win. That's a game they have to win in order to, probably make a run for the college football playoff and definitely for the ACC championship, because there are no divisions in the ACC this year. So Clemson here at number 10. Washington at number 9. I don't really see any weaknesses for this Washington team. This team just has a lot of production coming back. Their offense should be pretty strong, and their defense should be pretty strong, so no weaknesses for Washington. USC at number 8, fresh off that win against San Jose State. They're 1-0 already in 2023. The defense looked kind of, a little bit sloppy. I mean, we knew the defense was going to be an issue coming into the year for USC. And like I've been saying all offseason, defensively, the defense was going to be the main concern for this USC team. I don't really see any weaknesses on the offensive side of the football. I mean, that passing game is looking really good. Caleb Williams threw 4 touchdown passes in his first game. I just don't really see any weaknesses for the offense because this offense is going to be pretty explosive. But defensively, they got to get things going. I mean, defensively, I know it was just the first week. They're going to get better down the stretch, but we have to see USC play a really good offensive team, in order for them to really play good defense this year. Like, for example, Washington, that's a team they have to go up against, and then they, of course, have to play Oregon. So we have to see USC play a really good quality offense. Same thing with Notre Dame. They do play them in the regular season. But anyways, USC here at number 8, I didn't want to make a change for them because none of these Power 5 teams have played yet. I had to see more from USC as well in order for me to move them up into the top 5. And they start out 1-0 for 2023. Penn State at number 7. This is a team that will play West Virginia this upcoming weekend. I do concern a little bit about the offense for Penn State. I mean, they're going to have a new quarterback this year, and obviously a young team on the offensive side of the football. But defensively, I think that's going to be their strength. This could be a really good Penn State defense. I think it could be one of the top defenses in the Big Ten this year, but I really don't see that being the case. But I think Penn State has what it takes to be a competitive team. I think, going into this game against West Virginia, it won't be a really easy game, but they're playing at home in that game, so they should be really able to take care of business in that game, but we'll see what the Penn State offense looks like going into that game this weekend. And then Alabama here at number 6. One thing I'm concerned about for Alabama is the quarterback position. I'm not really too concerned about the offensive line or the running backs. I'm not really too concerned about the defense. It's just the quarterback situation. Who's going to be that starting quarterback for Alabama this upcoming season? We'll find out what the quarterback situation looks like for Alabama heading into week number 1. Again, we'll have to see more from these quarterbacks in order for Alabama to put them here in the top 5. So these are the rankings here from 6 through 10. Let's now go into the top 5. LSU at number 5, Florida State at number 4, Ohio State at number 3, Michigan at number 2, and then Georgia here at number 1. LSU and Florida State, they're playing each other this weekend. I don't really see any concerns for both of these teams going into this weekend's matchup on Sunday. LSU's got a lot of guys coming back from last year. They brought in some transfers to help them out as well. Same thing with Florida State. This team, I don't really see any concerns for them. I don't really see any concerns for this Florida State team. I mean, just overall, a lot of production coming back for this team, and obviously LSU with a lot of production coming back as well. Both of these teams are just really so even. I mean, this is probably the biggest game in all of college football heading into week 1 of the 2023 season. I don't really think it's the biggest game of just week number 1. I think this is definitely the biggest game in all of college football heading into the season. So LSU and Florida State, there's really no weaknesses for both of these teams. Ohio State at number 3. I don't think there's any weaknesses for the Buckeyes. I think that wide receiver position is really the biggest, strength of their game. They have a lot of really good wide receivers coming back this year. Marvin Harrison's back at, Marvin Harrison's at wide receiver. He's probably one of the top wide receivers in the country this year. We'll see Kyle McCord for the first time this weekend. Ohio State's playing on the road at Indiana this weekend. That could be a really, tricky matchup for Ohio State. But I think, maybe Indiana gives Ohio State a scare maybe in the first few minutes of the game, but I think the Buckeyes probably will pull away, and I think they should be able to go out there and take care of business. I really don't see any concerns for Ohio State. A lot of people probably think it's the quarterback position, but I don't really see any, concerns for Kyle McCord. I do have to see Kyle McCord play a really good team in order for me to call him a Heisman candidate or maybe like a really good quarterback for Ohio State. So I don't really see any weaknesses for this Ohio State team. And like I said, that wide receiver position is really the biggest strength to Ohio State's team. And then Michigan and Georgia, they're both pretty similar. A lot of production coming back for both of these teams. There's really no weakness for both of these teams heading into this year. Michigan, obviously, they're going to have a really good offensive team. J.J. McCarthy's back at quarterback. And then, of course, you have, Blake Corum back at running back as well. There's just a lot of strength on this team for Michigan. I just don't really see any weaknesses for this team. Georgia, I do expect them to go out there and just blow out UT Martin. We'll see, the quarterback for Georgia, I forgot his name. I think it's Carson Beck, I believe, that's starting this weekend for Georgia. We'll see him for the first time this weekend and see if he's, kind of like Stetson Bennett or if he's not like Stetson Bennett. But again, it's against an FCS team. I expect Georgia to go out there and just take care of business and be like the number one team in the country. But like I said, I don't really see any weaknesses for Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State, and LSU for these top 5 teams. But those are my top 25 rankings heading into week 1 of the 2023 college football season. I hope everybody's excited for the college football season to return this upcoming season. And again, they do start on Thursday night and continue all the way until about Labor Day. So make sure to watch for your favorite team and watch for those big-time games. And again, we'll do our updated top 25 video pretty much, next Tuesday, because we do have a lot of games coming up, and they don't end until about Labor Day. So we'll have our top 25 video heading into week 2 next Tuesday. That's our next top 25 video. But that's my top 25 heading into week number 1 of the 2023 college football season. And stay tuned here for more sports content videos on my Lucas Ross Sports channel.